Just in. Biden says he will be president for everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state.
It's incredible.
That's my Christmas joke.
Ian said this as we were pulling the story up. He's like, he must be talking about Christmas.
He's still in December.
And then I said he was addressing the North Pole. Most people don't know this.
Yeah.
But the North Pole, the jurisdiction by which Santa Claus rules, is actually divided into 7 different states with warring political factions between Republicans and the Green Party. Democrats don't exist up there for some reason. And so whether you're in a red state or a green state, this is not a joke. He said this. Oh, dude. Yo, let's roll. Here we go.
When we pushed all these programs, I said I'm going to be a president for everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state.
God, Joe.
Yo, whenever I see stuff like this, it just reminds me of what was it, Dr. Strangelove riding the atomic bomb down. Like, here we go, baby.
Everybody should watch that movie tonight.
Yeah, but the upside is Tucker's interview with Putin actually gives me, like, Putin's not demented at the very least. Maybe he's got ulterior motives that we don't know about, but he's clear.
He's intelligent, but he's a good guy in every story he tells.
Can we
Putin?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Can we get like Seamus to make that joke where it's like Joe Biden standing at the stage going, "My memory's good, and you know, if you live in a green state, I told you." And then he starts walking away, and then as soon as he goes in the other room, he goes, "All right, what's the next move we're making?"
We made it off.
And they're like, "Mr. President, the act worked. They're not going to prosecute you because everyone believes you're senile and decrepit."
He might be doing that. True, he might be doing that. I do believe, I don't know if Reagan did that or not, I don't know. But when someone told me that he might have played up the All-Star, he's an actor, you know, Reagan was an actor. Exactly. The whole like, well, I might go to prison for life, or if I just kind of play along with the whole Alzheimer thing, maybe I'll just get to quietly live out my days.
Right.
And Biden's like, yeah, maybe I'll just play this character of like...
They have to 25th Amendment him at this point. I mean, if they're not going to prosecute him because they're saying he's got a diminished mental state, if they're saying he lacks the will to be able to hold him accountable for his crimes, they've publicly stated he could do anything he wants now. Maybe that's what they want.
The Krasensteins love it. They're tweeting about voting for this guy no matter what his mental capacity
What, today
is.
they did?
One of them did, yeah.
Yeah, but this is why I say they're evil. Because when it comes to the lies from the corporate press about Elon and X, they immediately like, whoosh, they jump in line and say, oh, the media is lying about Elon. And then when it comes to Trump, they're telling the truth about him.
That's right.
It's like, we know who butters your bread. The Democrats and X. You make money on the platform, and they posted, like, we only made $400, you know, in the past pay period. And I'm like, yeah, so you're desperate to make more.
Exactly.
They'll just say whatever it is benefits them, and if it's the establishment narrative or if it's X, their position makes no sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Personally, I like them a lot. I'm not refuting what you guys are saying. I don't know, but I know they're not really political guys. At least according to them, they're like, dude, I feel stuck in politics right now, and I don't know how to
politics.
I don't care about these two guys.
Money off it.
But who cares about these two guys individually? Yes. It's the issue of the left grift.
Yeah,
like their positions just align wherever the power is for them, and they'll take it. So yes, you have people like them. You have many others happy
Bill Maher
that Joe Biden is mentally diminished and won't be prosecuted, and they would rather vote for him than Donald Trump. Makes no sense. It's Trump derangement syndrome is going easy on these guys. Yep. Trump psychosis syndrome or something.
If Trump acted like this, they would have been having meltdowns in the streets. They would have had
It would be all over TV. People would be pointing out how slow he is. They'd be putting it up against what he was like 6 years ago, and they'd be like, look how much worse he is. It would be, don't vote for this guy. That guy is bad. Yep. I wish they would give Biden the treatment, man.
Maybe
I wish they would show people.
I feel bad. What if Joe Biden was speaking in context and the post-millennial with this clip, they just, pulled a fast one on us, and Biden was talking about Republican states or states that have legalized marijuana.
That's right. And for those that aren't watching this, Tim just read that from a Krasenstein tweet. That's what that was. So
he was clearly referencing states with recreational marijuana.
Referencing the Green Party. It was the Green Party.
It was interesting that Tucker was pushing Putin on like, well, why don't you just call up Joe?
Yeah, that was funny.
And Putin didn't seem to think that would be productive.
He laughed
for understandable reasons. Right. But I actually appreciate that kind of a question, because I feel like world leaders actually don't call each other up a lot. They have their kind of handlers talk, and it's just
Putin was way wrong on this one. He should Putin. I'm sorry.
He should call him.
I watched that interview, and I won't get into all of it, but he missed a lot of. He has proven himself to be an ineffective leader. And just I want to save it for the next segment we do, because it's a big story. But I just want to say, in this context, he absolutely should call Joe Biden, because then he's going to be like, hey, Joe, who's this? It's your brother, Joe. Oh, what do you need? $100 billion. Oh, tell me what to wear. Wire it to Putin. Okay. He can get anything he wants. He can come up and be like, we should get our troops out of Ukraine. Oh, whatever you say, brother. What are you doing calling me from Russia with a Russian accent? He's going to be like, hey, it's how I talk now. Oh, okay. Just take the opportunity. If it's
joke.
It's a joke. It's a funny joke. Yeah.
I think when when Tucker was like, why don't you just call Joe and work some stuff out so we can avoid World War III? Putin was like, it's already taken care of. We don't need to worry about it. Like he seemed like they have people and the Americans have people that are already decided we're not going to have World War III. That's what it seemed like. It sounded like.
I like that it seems easier for Tucker to interview Putin than it is for him to interview Biden. Right? Like,
yeah.
Biden's not going to sit down with Tucker. They trotted out all the people, even Hillary last night, talked to condemn this interview. He could go to Russia and interview Putin.
Western journalists haven't even bothered interviewing Joe Biden.
I think he interviewed on the Weather Channel once.
Did he? No, but it was funny because when Tucker said that, he was wrong, but he was right. Okay, like here's the issue. Russia came out and said, Tucker Carlson is incorrect. A lot of people have reached out to us for interviews with Putin, but we just turned them down. But I got to push back on Russia. The people contacting Vladimir Putin for interviews are not journalists. They're state actors and propagandists and smear merchants. Tucker Carlson may be one of the only journalists who's actually tried to get an interview with Vladimir Putin. So the issue is when Tucker's talking about Western journalists, he's referencing like, Libby Emmons or Steven Crowder's team or James O'Keefe. Like, why isn't James O'Keefe tried to interview? Because he's not talking about the New York Times CIA assets or the Daily Beast or Rolling CIA Stone.
Right.
I'm kidding, by the way, but like, as if anyone thinks these news outlets are anything but mouthpieces for the state. Come on, you're full of it. You can watch James O'Keefe, and what I love about how they go after James is that when he was doing these sting operations on like Google, they were like, he's far right, and he was like, are you implying that by going after Google, they're far left? Like, I don't understand what your point is. He goes after these big tech companies, and then immediately the media calls him far right for doing so, or they claim that he only goes after left-wing organizations, and he's like, is Google left-wing, or are they just a big tech company? But they expose themselves when they do this. You take a look at, we can mention this briefly, like, I don't know if you guys saw this. NBC News, it advocated for putting Chaya Raichik of Libs of TikTok in prison. Did you see this? They did a big thread where they were like, following several posts by Libs of TikTok, bomb threats happened. And then on NBC News, this lady's like, is there a possibility we can hold her accountable for this? And the guy's like, well, she didn't do the bomb threats, but that's where they're going with it.
Well, they would love for stochastic terrorism to become like actual law.
Oh, because then it's just anything's interpretable as being illegal. Like at that point, saying like, I just plain don't like Joe Biden. That's a crime. Won't someone rid me of this priest becomes a capital offense.
Do you think that leftism in general is inherent to corporate, like totalitarian corporate technocracy? Like, is that a leftist thing? The idea of like governing with corporatism?
No. Corporatism could be left or right. There's this kind of like the interesting thing about the fascists and the Nazis is a better way to put it, is that it was a pseudo market system, but there was an ideological capture, as opposed to communism where you had state capture. So with the communists in Russia, they're basically like, you will do as you are told, you report to us. With the Nazis, they were like, how come you aren't producing steel for our effort? You're not a traitor, are you? And then they're, no, I'll do it. And it was more like, with the Nazis, it was cancel culture. It was fear that you'd be shunned, ostracized, or worse as time progressed. And so everyone just fell in line because, Kristallnacht, for instance, like just mass rampage of destruction and targeting of people. It was fear that you'd be targeted too if you fell out of line. With the communists, they wore uniforms, marched to your house, and shot you in the face. You know what I mean? So they were like right there telling you what they were doing. And I will state this too with the caveat. I read one academic paper on it talking about the economic structure of Nazism and how it permeated through Germany. So it's probably much more nuanced than that.
The Nazis had they masked like a great revival of their economy basically by building tanks, and they were telling everyone they were building cars, and then they were like, we have no way to make profit on what we're doing, but we're amassing resources to build, because their whole plan was just to conquer foreign land and then repay their debts through riches, conquered.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.